Cutback for Vasilev, and Lukic! A banger of a strike for Jovan Lukic's first MLS goal!
It's fallen out to Westfield! Oh, wow! He's nearly taken the roof of the net off! Philadelphia pounce again!
Who gets his goal on his Union debut? The record signing, off and running in his first appearance for the club.
Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and your Philadelphia Union. First win of the 2026 MLS season. Let's clap it up. We never thought it was going to happen, did we, folks? We never thought it was going to happen. And look, the Union are right back at it like we've seen the last couple years, getting managers fired. Marco Donadell no longer in CF Montreal. I saw the press in Montreal saying, yeah, there was no press conference after the game, which sparked a lot of questions. And are the Union back? You know, the Union were at their best getting managers fired, and they get their first one fired in 2026. And we'll see. Is that a spark to good things to come? We shall see, but good things to come. That dog behind Jose, Olive, W Dog. It's a good thing. How you doing, Jose?
I'm doing all right. I had to, you probably can hear the clickety clacking and her just like rolling around the ground and hitting the wall with her paws. So I apologize if she's being loud, but I'm doing all right, man. Long day. You know, we're grateful for all the families that invite us to birthday parties for the kids, through daycare, through school, but something has to give, man. Like you cannot have a 10 a.m. birthday party on a Sunday for little kids. Like that was tough this morning. So it's been a tough day in the Nunez household in terms of staying awake. That was an unbelievable thing to do, to go to a bouncy house / jungle gym type of place at 10 a.m. in the morning and be expected to eat pizza and cake by 11:30. Like it was a lot. So eager to talk about the Union, man. Second half team, it seems. It somehow seems like they just kind of save all their energy for the final 45 versus the first 45. They don't make it easy to watch, and they certainly don't make it easy for fans to kind of stick along with. But they got it done, so credit where it's due. So we'll break it down.
We will, and that's where I do want to lead the conversation a little bit later on. But before we do all that, Jose, as we always do, let's start with some news. All right, so the first bit of news, the only bit of news I think I actually have scheduled, unless there's something else that I totally missed. But I think the big deal to talk about is Nathan Harriel signs a new contract extension with the Union through the 2028 season, 2029, with an option for 2029-2030. Harriel, 24 years old, was in the final year of his contract, though the Union did hold a club option for 2027. And we're at the point, Jose, where I don't know if the league understands. I don't know if the club understands. We certainly don't understand. When you see all these options for 2027, is it for that shortened season? Is it for the whole 2027, 2028 season? I don't think anybody has a clue yet, but it doesn't matter, right? When you sign contract extensions, I don't think it matters. And we'll see. Do more players wind up signing contract extensions where they can worry about the logistics of that shortened 2027 season? We shall see. But Nathan Harriel, I wrote this prior to yesterday's game. He's been a staple for the Union since making his debut back in 2021. He's appeared in 148 games, 119 starts across all competitions, scoring 9 goals, assisting 5 in almost 11,000 minutes for the club. He's been a solid player for the Union overall, Jose. Yes, I think fans would like to see a little bit more offensively for Nathan Harriel in terms of assists, but defensively, he's been one of the Union's most solid players. Scores a lot of goals off of set pieces with that aerial jump. I mean, he is so dangerous on set pieces, Jose, and good to see Nathan Harriel, 24 years old, signed a new contract extension. I do believe that Bradley Cornell was asked about him prior to the game, and he said, yeah, we want to lock up the leadership. Nathan Harriel, we talked about it last week, I think, Jose, being a part of that leadership group with Quinn Sullivan, Andre Blake, and Jafet Siri. And so well-deserved contract extension for Nathan Harriel.
Yeah, I think this sort of solidifies Nathan as somebody who's going to be, and this is not an insult by any stretch of the imagination, but I think after this deal, Todd, probably fair to assume that Nate's going to be an MLS lifer, and that's okay. He strikes me as a guy who's going to want to stick around the league for a long time rather than maybe have a go somewhere else. And again, that's totally fine too. It's really intriguing considering sort of the path that he was on, and maybe that 2024 regression year kind of reset his path in a way, because then 2025 it was kind of like a Frankie Westfield / Kai season, right, where Nate came in and plugged and play, and now obviously him being one of the members of that leadership council, maybe taking a different role altogether. So yeah, I'm intrigued onto the specifics of that shortened season, Todd, in terms of, is it a blanket statement now that, like our team's not bothering addressing it because there's something coming down the line in terms of, yeah, all the deals will just be vested into that shortened season. It's like, well, if I was an agent, I'd be like, no. Or if I was the MLSPA, I should say, no, that shouldn't be the case. Something needs to be negotiated to reconcile that, square it away. But as it stands, and I'm sure more is to come, it remains a big question. But happy for Nate. This is kind of what I think the union want to see, right? One of their own sticking around for a long time. And, by the time this deal's done, should it go through 2029, 2023, that'll be nearly 9-10 years, right, at the club, if I'm counting the years correctly. That's an unbelievable amount of time at a club to be a servant, and I think having done it well, represented the country in the Olympics, one international cap at the men's level or two, I can't remember, but nonetheless, that Olympic representations is massive, obviously alongside Jack McGlynn. So happy for Nate, and eager to see how he develops and more importantly, I should say, how he helps others develop in the future, because I think that's going to be a big part of his role here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jose. I think Nathan Harriel does for sure have a promising future for the Union if he does wind up staying throughout this whole contract. He's made 4 appearances with the U.S. National team. Made his national team call-up in 2025, and then he appeared in friendlies against Turkey, Switzerland, and Japan. Like you said, I mean, that was a big deal back in 2024 when him and Jack McGlynn both represented the Union for the U.S. at the Olympics in 2024. You and I had a really nice piece back then where shout out to the family for getting us pictures for that article. It was a really well done project by both of us, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy putting that together. I know the press conferences from the U.S. Soccer Federation early in the morning, and we tried our best to get on there, ask questions and everything to get that article done. And yeah, again, just really proud and happy how that article turned out. But I saw this comment, and I'll pull it up here if I can find it. Shouldn't be that hard to find. From Wolfie. He said, right here, he said, Glesnes was sold right after getting a new contract extension, wasn't he? LOL. And that's the thing, Jose. I don't know if I necessarily buy in that he'll see out this remaining deal with the Union. Yeah, I think Nate would be the first to tell you that offensively he could be a little bit better with assists. He's a good 1v1 defender, and I think teams value that. But you look at the fullback in today's game, teams want offensive fullbacks. Like there's no hiding from that. So it's a rarity to see a fullback that's good 1v1 defending, because fullbacks, it doesn't matter what league you watch, it seems like they're prioritized to always get involved in the attack. And I know Nathan's not always getting involved in the attack like a Frankie Westfield, like a Kai Wagner, which, by the way, shout out Kai Wagner, earning an assist today against Wrexham. Birmingham City go on to win 2-0. And what a chaotic season they've had, Jose. I mean, I don't know how those Birmingham fans survive. It's just, yeah, you're right. Up and down. And Kai Wagner comes back from injury. And of course, right, they get a win as soon as Kai comes back, and it's a beautiful assist. And Union fans are so used to seeing that. And I think I texted you, Jose, maybe he can come back in the summertime. This is a header, but guys like, oh, completely misses the ball, completely misses it there.
Oh man, he's making Ernst Tanner look like a genius by the moment.
That's a good ball played in there for a Gazdag.
Yeah. Oh my god, that is. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I saw it on the comments just talking about him. I'm like, this header has to be terrible. Didn't even make contact with the ball.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I texted you and I said, maybe Kai Wagner can come back and do a crossing clinic for the fullbacks in the Union to whip in the balls that we're just so used to seeing Kai play in. But yeah, regardless, congrats to Nate for signing this contract extension with the club, and yeah, well deserved. We'll see if he stays the remainder of the contract, or as Wolfie says, does he get the Glesnes treatment and get traded right after signing this contract? We shall see. But let's go ahead, Jose, and flip to a positive result. CF Montreal, Philadelphia Union come from behind. First time this season, Jose. We see the Union Trail once again give up the first goal in this game to Ivan Jaime in the 23rd minute. Battle back in the second half of the game. There's not much I really want to focus on because I think that it ties into the topics that we have for the show. So we can go ahead and get that, I guess, out of the way. You alluded to it a little bit, Jose, where the Union, they continue to struggle in the first half, but they have that turnaround in the second half. And I mentioned it now, 7 straight games for the Union conceding the first goal. And I'll ask you, Jose, is there any concern in that the Union only conceded the first goal 12 times last season? Only 12 times, and they're more than halfway to that number this season.
Yes, I think ultimately there is a concern, but even more so, and I think more appropriately, a big concern when they give up goals the way that they did, like they did against Montreal. And I'm trying to rewind the play in my head, and I want your opinion, Todd. Was that goal a byproduct of Olwethu Makanya not pushing up fast enough and being the last man back? Or was it just totally, sort of a random occurrence of like, how is the center back supposed to know that the ball was going to ping pong back that quickly? I don't want to give Olwethu an out, but I also want to be mindful of like, okay, maybe there's more to it than I'm not thinking. But immediately as I was watching that goal, I thought to myself, did this guy really just walk towards the center of the field after he knew that Blake was going to blast in many, many yards away? And I think that's the answer, which surprised me. This is the Olwethu that you and I talked so highly about over the last, certainly last year, where he looked, and he still looks very good at moments, especially on the ball, where he's stepping on it, dragging it back, turning the ball and passing it to the next man to then try to progress it forward. Was just kind of like, okay, like that's fantastic. But then you have moments like these where it's just, what are you thinking? Why aren't you thinking about these really important little details that are just leading to then having to climb an uphill mountain? You can't blame that goal on Blake. He was sort of just stranded there, but I think the concern comes from these boneheaded moments where, I think that they're going to look at these clips and look at these specific points of time, excuse me, and just realize that, the Union don't have to dig themselves out of the hole all the time if they get these little things right. And that's the most concerning thing, but also maybe a thing that should bring some peace of mind, because yes, they are obviously professionals and they shouldn't be doing these things, but you also don't want to be playing championship ball 6-7 games into the season, right? You want to progress into playing your best soccer towards the tail end and or during tournaments. So it's to me, it's yes, genuinely a concern, but also kind of, okay, this reminds me of last year's growth, right? You think about that Columbus draw where they gave up the goal at home in the dying minutes. I think a back post cross to somebody, I forget who scored. Was it Zawadzki who ended up scoring it at the end? I can't remember who scored it against the Union, but it was very much like it was like a 92nd, 93rd minute cross. And I remember specifically asking Cornell, like, what do you make of the growth of this team, or the growth that this team has to make? And Gardner being like, it's part of the process. It's part of the part of progressing with players. It takes time. It's not all encompassing when you're playing right now. It's more of a time capsule. So for what it's worth, you can't expect these players to have suddenly the experience having played with one another for 3 years, 4 years at a time, and with the staff, et cetera, considering some of the new faces that have come in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the Union continued to hurt themselves, Jose. I don't think it's anything special that the opposition's really doing. And you're right. From the angles that we got, we weren't in the stadium, full disclosure, and we don't see this play develop before it happens. So I don't know. What we see is Makanya is the last defender back. Nathan Harriel, Seri, they push up on the field and they push up on that play. And when that happens, okay, of course, you're going to see the attackers take advantage of that. They're going to stay as far back as they can. Who cares if Nathan Harriel and Seri are pushed up? They're going to stay as even as possible to Makanya. And I think that's just a issue there where it's a lack of concentration, lack of awareness. And yeah, I mean, you've got to talk. You've got to talk in those moments. And credit to the Union, right, for not letting that moment just sink them. They fight back in the second half, and they struggled, Jose. They struggled once again, creating chances in the first half. Only 2 shots in target. Took until the 42nd, 43rd minute with Iloski's free kick that was straight at the goalkeeper. But it's like, hey, look, they finally got a shot on goal late, and then you have that class volley from Jesús Bueno, left-footed strike, which really, really, really good save by Tomas Gillier, where I thought, yeah, that might go in there, Jose. And I think that was a sign of what was to come in the second half, Jose, where it came off of a set piece, the ball falls to Jesús Bueno, and we talked about it with Jess Sharman last episode, where coming into this match, Montreal is one of the worst teams conceding set pieces in MLS, conceded the second most of 4. And it's no wonder that they give up 2 goals in this game off of set pieces. The Union looked most promising off of set pieces. They took advantage of a team that's really, really poor at defending set pieces. But, going back to that goal that Montreal scores with Ivan Jaime, I feel like maybe your heart was a little bit tugged there, Jose, because your fellow countryman Morales could have gotten an assist there on that play. Could have had an assist, or does get an assist. Sorry, he does get the assist. Boots the ball up there, and
did he get credit with it?
Yeah, he got credit with the assist. I don't know if he was really expecting to get assist off of that play, but look, I think he looks up and he sees that Harriel and Seri are push up. Let me go ahead and just clue this ball up top. Hope that it falls to Jaime. And when that happens, we see it all the time, Jose. It doesn't have to be with Union in general. When you're caught out of possession, when you're not in your structure, you're going to get beat when you're tracking back and things are all out of sorts. And Makanya tries to close down Jaime, but as soon as he does that, of course, Jaime sees him coming full speed and everything. He's going to go in and cut on his right foot. Just Makanya is hoping to get something on that, and there's nothing Andre Blake can do. Don't blame Andre Blake. And if you actually rewind it, the Union would have had a chance, because I don't know if you went back and watched this play, and I tried to post my goals breakdown video on YouTube, and let's just say MLS was not having that. So have to go to Substack, people, if you guys want to watch the full video. I'll try to get away with it tomorrow morning and post it on Twitter. But yeah, I don't know. I think MLS might be on to me. Tried 3 or 4 different ways to get that video posted. Was not happening. But Blake kicks the ball long, and Bruno Damiani, he draws the attention of Brian Vera and Morales, the 2 center backs, pulls them out of position, wins the header, which then leaves Ben Bender 1v1 against Petrasso. And if Bender can get to that ball first, who knows what happens? I mean, you never know. And I know that after the goal was scored, they went to VAR. Union luck out the first time that they go to VAR, because they said Andre Blake made contact with Jaime inside the penalty area, But once you go to VAR, you see Blake clearly gets the ball first, and so the Union luck out. I'm like, there's no way, Jose. Yes, they're playing bad in the first half, but there is no way that they get lucky with 2 VAR calls going their way 23 minutes into this game. And yeah, I'm glad that they said clean goal. I thought it was a clean goal for Montreal, but a long-winded way to say, yeah, the Union continue to struggle creating chances in the first half, but then we flip it to the second half. Best chances coming on set pieces, which we haven't seen that all time this season, Jose. Coming into the match, they scored 2 goals off of set pieces, 2 goals from around a play, 1 from the penalty spot, and 1 from a set piece. And so you knew the Union last year. You and I were tracking it, seeing, what was it, 16, 17, maybe 19? I forget what the number was. It was high last year, set piece goals that they scored.
Nearly
very,
20.
very high team in converting those set piece opportunities. And they've looked okay at times with set pieces, but I said it 5 minutes ago that the Union's best chances in this game came off of set pieces.
Yeah, no, and we often thought, shoot, like Frank Light, is he gonna leave? Is he gonna get poached, go elsewhere? Because the guy is creating magic with the set pieces and the different, things that he's implementing with that team as they've. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Todd, but in looking at the data, if I'm recalling it correctly, like progressing through the years and how many goals they've created through set pieces. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Frank is gonna leave at some point. Someone's gonna want him, and of course, he's worked at a pretty high level. So I don't have much else to add about those goals outside of, yes, it's great to see set piece goals. Are we going to talk about the lineup at some point?
We can. You can go into it if you want.
You want to talk about the Ben Bender?
I mean, what's there to say about that? I mean,
what is there to say about that Maryland guy?
That, I mean, I've never shied away from it on the podcast, Jose. I don't think that Bender's an MLS level player. He's been very kind to me. I'm biased towards anybody that comes out of the state of Maryland and makes it professional. And then guys that grew up 20, 25 minutes away from me, of course I want to see those guys succeed. Like I wanted to see Cole Turner succeed. Like I want to see Andrew Privet down in Charlotte succeed. Yeah, I mean, of course there's some bias in it, but I'm a realist, I'd like to say, and I don't think Ben Bender has the speed to keep up with the speed of play in MLS, and that's not a shot at Ben Bender. And I hope this doesn't get sent to him. I hope nobody in his family is watching this. But from what I've observed, I just don't think that he has the speed to play in this system. And yeah, you want to bring him back for a cheap as a squad player. I'm fine with that, but to rely on Ben Bender to be a starter, to make a difference. And don't get me wrong, Jose, he's had moments coming off the bench in CONCACAF Champions Cup where he's created a couple chances, and it surprised me, especially coming at left back, which he's not a left back. And credit to him for willing to take on a position where, yeah, it's not his natural position. But yeah, at the same time, Jose, I don't think he's a starter in this team. I don't think that he's a starter in MLS, and this was an opportunity where, yeah, I thought Kevin Sullivan maybe should have started this game. I've been saying Kevin should be a starter on this team. Last week, we talked about what our best Union lineup would be. Danley John Jock wasn't good to go in this game because he had a knee contusion. Bradley Cornell also said that Jesus Bueno had a knee contusion, wasn't listed as questionable like Danley John Jock was on that player availability report, and we see Danley not go. But okay, that's fine. You have Jesus Bueno who can fill in for him. We'll talk about Jesus a little bit later. But yeah, why didn't Kevin play? Why didn't a Jeremy Raffanello play over Ben Bender? And we know Cornell seems to like Bender. I mean, there's a reason why he was brought back, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Cornell saying, yeah, we'll take him back. He can play a role in this squad. He's a good locker room player, and yeah, he gets an opportunity. I don't think he does really anything that hurt the Union. I don't think he did anything that really made a difference in this game, Jose.
Yeah, I think you're right. And please don't. I was joking with the whole Maryland thing. No, it's kind of funny that it just happens to be a Maryland guy that we're kind of questioning or talking about. But thinking about Bender's performance yesterday, I think he was completely forgettable, right? In terms of like, I don't remember anything that he did that was overly positive. I also don't think I remember much that was negative or detrimental to the team, which is fine. I think there's a role for that in MLS for sure. But when you have I don't know, dude. Like, I don't want to sound crazy, but like when you have a Bugatti or a Ferrari and Kevin Sullivan that you got to give back to Manchester City in a couple of years' time, like how do you not go and put him in to get some minutes with the first team? And I think what made it more interesting was the piece that Jonathan Tannenwald put out with quotes from John Shear, the interim sporting director, about, I think, further clarifying the commentary behind, we're working very closely with Manchester City to work in terms of work with Kevin and his development. I think that article was ill-timed in a way, considering the way that the game played out, and to throw in Kevin, what was it? I'm looking at this 88th minute to kind of just go and kill a game, when in reality he should have probably been in from the get-go. I think you and I would argue, let alone like a halftime substitute. And in fact, I remember sitting there. Wolfie, perfect comment. I think that's exactly how I felt about the Bender performance. It's like I forgot he was even on for a minute, and that's okay. Like that's maybe a good thing, because you're just there. But I would have thought that, again, like I know I've been sort of talking out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to Kevin, right? In terms of, I don't know that the Friends Force winning 6-0 makes sense to throw in Kevin. I also don't know that, or I have said in the past, or I guess I'm saying now, that Kevin should have started in a 6 match losing streak away from home at Montreal. So I totally acknowledging that the wishy-washiness on my stance, but my goodness, like if things are not working, you got to try something different. And is it Kevin that's going to be different? And is it bad that it's a 16, 17-year-old kid who is the difference for this team? I don't know, right? What I will say is that I'm really intrigued to see after yesterday's match, I think Jesús Bueno has very much cemented himself as a player that needs to see more time, more than just being a substitute and every other day type of player. But that also brings up the question, what do you do with Danley, right? Like, do you push Jesus up and maybe have like a, definitely don't want to bring up the diamond the way that Curtin played, but what you need to play Danley in some way, shape, or form. He is way too athletic and just versatile to not use him. So is Vasilev odd man out? Is
He should be.
Somebody else? It could be. I think you specifically would argue that should be, maybe. I think many others would argue as well. He's another one that I actually, outside of, was he the one who took the free kick in the second half that was just straight at the wall?
Yeah.
I think Alowski got fouled, and then Vasilev, it wasn't even like at the wall, like shoulder level. It was at the wall, like thigh level, which was kind of bizarre that's where it went. So I'm intrigued onto, I think these are good problems, right, for Cornell to think about. Jesús Bueno has had really good performances, really deserving of time. Kevin Sullivan, very deserving of time as well, considering that he comes in and does great things offensively, maybe needs to work on the defensive side a little bit more. Danley also needs to play in some way, shape, or form. So who are the players out when it comes to this puzzle? I'm so intrigued to see how it goes from here, especially with the next game coming up, not right around the corner, literally.
Yeah, I think Fern is saying sell him, meaning sell Danley. And that very well might be the case after the World Cup. If Danley has a good showing with Haiti at the World Cup, and especially against Brazil, I don't even think Jose, if he plays well against Brazil, I think that's enough to get all the attention in the world on him. So, yeah, we've talked about that plenty of times, Jose, where we wouldn't be shocked if Makanya, if Danley winds up getting sold in the summertime, but we shall see. I don't think, just for the sake of it, let's sell Danley because we have Jesus Bueno. No, I don't think that's what you do whatsoever. Fern also asked, too soon to call Elaski a bust? And I don't think Elaski is a bust at all. I think it's just trying to find him his best position. I think that Elaski's better as one of the 10s. I think he's better playing in behind the striker instead of playing next to a striker. I don't like him as one of the 2 strikers up top. He can do a job up there, but I think he's a lot better as one of the 2 number 10s, or if you want to play a 4-2-3-1, play him as the lone central number 10. I think that's where Elaski thrives best, making those late runs into the box. The set pieces, I know he gets the assist on Seri's goal, but I don't think he's great at set pieces like Kai Wagner was. Val says he's better now that his hair is growing back. Yeah, that might be it. I mean, we all love a nice piece of hair, as Jose and I both touch our hair there. But I think the Union do have a lot of interesting decisions they can make. Fern also says has to be Indy out of the lineup, and I don't know. I feel like I've talked about Indy so many times the last couple of episodes where, I do ultimately think, Jose, that should be the odd man out. I think until Quinn Sullivan comes back, Jesus Bueno has done more than enough, Jose, in my opinion, to earn a starting spot. Him and Jovan Lukic were really, really good defensively against Montreal, winning loose balls, winning tackles, going forward. It was a really good performance by those 2, and I get it, right? It's CF Montreal, one of the worst teams in the game. I mean, this was a battle of 2 of the worst teams in MLS, but you got to beat the opponents you're supposed to beat, and the Union do exactly that. So credit to them. Hasn't been the case this season. First win of the year. You have DC United next week at 7:30 at Subaru Park. I would argue you have to win that game too. Another struggling team in MLS. You make it 2 wins in a row. Okay, maybe this fan base starts to feel a little bit better. Again, I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, oh, it's DC United. Like, we want to see it against a Toronto who's one of the better teams in MLS. Columbus is a struggling team. But at the end of the day, I just said it. You've got to beat the opponent you're supposed to beat. You beat Montreal. Now you got to play DC next week. You got to beat them. But I think it should be a Danley John Jock, a Milan Elaski as the 2 number 10s. We'll talk about Alladoh here in a bit. Had a really good performance, Jose. But Jesus Bueno, Jovan Lukic, really, really good performance. And I do want to play a clip from Bradley Cornell talking about the performance from from Jesus Bueno and just him and Jovan Lukic in general.
Yeah, very good. He plays with a lot of pride. He plays with a lot on the line. And he gives everything every single day. So, I'm really happy for Jesus. He had a great shot in the first half, and Gilliam makes an excellent save. But, I just think he was in the right spacing, the right moments. He has a good dynamic of when to attack and when to go and when to hold up just behind, the 10s and securing the defense with Makanya and Jeff. So, again, I thought the Sixers were very, very, very good today.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see anybody complain about the performance from the 2 number 6s in that game. I mean, excellent, Jose, excellent. And Danley, we know he's a player that likes to get maybe a little bit more for it than Jovan Lukic. Maybe he's told to go a little bit more for it. Maybe he's given the freedom to go a little bit more for it. But I think a big part of why the Union won against Montreal, forget them being a bad team, is because of just how well the 2 defensive midfielders protected that back line and made life easier for the back 4, which, by the way, this is back-to-back games, Jose, that we've seen a consistent back line. The first time that's happened this season, which we talked about it again with Jess, and we can actually talk about it too with the goal here coming up that Montreal conceded. They make a substitution, change the back line, bring Tomas Aviles into the game. Why? Why would you do that? Jess literally talked about it last game. Why would you change your back line during the game when that's going to cause issues? And it causes issues for Montreal. It literally costs Montreal a goal. So dumb. We can get to that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm happy to see Bradley Cornell go with the same back 4. in Nathan Harriel and Frankie Westfield as the two fullbacks, and then Siri and Makanya as the two center backs. I think we both agree, Jose, that Frankie Westfield is the best left back on this team right now, even though he's not a left back. I think he's clear ahead of Ndinga, and you continue to select him. If he's continuing to produce offensively and defensively, you keep going with the hot hand right now. Frankie Westfield, thinking actually Westwood, is the hot hand. I know I threw you for so many names out there, but yeah, Frankie, excellent too. And glad to see Bradley Cornell finally go with a consistent back line. But going back to the point, Jovan, Lukic, Jesus, Bueno, we heard Bradley Cornell. Excellent game from those two. Anything else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's this Jesus Bueno run that we're seeing, and I think you could argue it has been sort of flashes, right, when he's gotten the opportunities over this year. Not many opportunities, but the opportunities that he's gone and had decent games, right? I think Club America was one of them. He also featured against Defense Force, if I recall, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I believe so.
Wait.
Bueno.
Bueno. Yes.
Okay. I just recall the Club America performance that he had earlier this season. Jesus Bueno, unless I'm making it up, but I'm fairly certain that he was there. And I'm kind of getting vibes of Bueno back to 2023. Is that when he started really breaking out during that Leagues Cup? Leagues Cup tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, Cruz Azul specifically, that game where he had an assist and a goal, I think, at Subaru Park. So it's really, it feels like this confidence is building for him. It feels like this is a player that's just picking up steam. And I'm just glad that he's getting the opportunity to let it all out, right? To put it on the field and play. So,
dude,
what's
sorry
that?
to cut you off, but yeah, I don't know how this game's lost in my memory against Querétaro. I'm saying that wrong. Querétaro. He had 3 assists. 3 assists and a 5-1 win. I completely forgot he had a hat trick of assists in that game. Insane.
I remember Querétaro because they had Hulk, whatever they called his coach Hulk. And I got to see them as well at the DC United Stadium at Audi Field. That random trip that I was there for work, and I was like, I'm in town. Can I come watch soccer? And they're like, yeah, sure, come over. Your boy Brian Ruiz, I believe, out of the PR team at DC United. So. Yeah, it seems like Jesus is getting this confidence and this air about him to, like, he can ball out there, right? Because for a while he was very much just a utility player. At least it felt like a utility player that could come in and maybe eat up 30 minutes tops. But why not him, right? Why not be a starter? And it seems like he's just picking up the opportunity. So congratulations to him. Case in point, maybe we'll link to my interview with him from many, many years ago now, where I did a good 30, 35 minutes with him. And maybe overdue for another chat with the man who knows how long he's still around Philadelphia.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get that linked in the show description. Did you post that just on Twitter or was it Substack too? I can't remember.
I think it was Substack. I think I archived it because it was before I started doing the Substack thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and find that interview for you guys too. It's in Spanish, fair warning, but there is subtitles. Jose did bust his butt to get subtitles for you guys. So yeah, really good interview. And he seemed excited to talk to you from what I can remember. So yeah, definitely link that in the show description. And yeah, maybe a future chat is worth talking about. Mike says, Jesus Bueno is still only 26 until 415, hitting the prime spot in his career. That's true. Yeah. Still young, but now you're starting to hit those levels where I think the Union, these are where the Union were expecting him to be a consistent starter, to be a difference maker defensively. And what we didn't expect is, offensively, he's been a difference maker, and especially in Leagues Cup, Jose, like we talked about, him really getting his chance to shine there. I want to go back to this point, though. I had it start here from Mark Anthony. He says, I like how these players are willing to stick together. One common thing I heard was how none of them have experienced a losing streak like this in their life. I think it's a testament to Coach Bradley Cornell. And that's the thing too, right, Jose? The Union do wind up taking the 2-1 lead, and they're putting their bodies on the line, blocking crosses, tackling, winning the ball, interceptions. You get one last chance, Montreal, with Escobar standing over the free kick, tries to go back post, and the ball just sails off in over the end line. And I think that sums up the season so far for CF Montreal. But this team was not comfortable with a 2-1 lead. They were still fighting, trying to get chances in this game, Jose, and we'll talk about those chances in a bit. But this team was fighting so hard defensively. It's like, okay, we finally have a lead the first time this season, and they're fighting for everything, Jose. They are fighting for everything, making sure that they leave Canada with all 3 points, and that's exactly what they do. I'll bring up another question here from Mike, or did I get rid of it? I saw you started. I'll go up. Mike says, a question Ben and I talked about, when does Bruno Damiani take a seat on the bench if he's still not producing? You and I are both believers of Bruno Damiani, Jose. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody listening to the podcast. Yes, Bruno is always going to be judged on goals. He's going to be judged on assists. And right now he's not producing in that category. But I look at the little things that he does, Jose, his hold-up play, the physicality. I talked about it at the beginning of the show, right? Pulls 2 defenders back, wins the header, the flick one for Ben Bender to put him into a chance on goal, 1v1 against Petrasso. Ben Bender gets beat to the ball. Do you think there's a point that they bench Bruno Damiani? He started all 7 games so far this season in MLS for Bradley Cornell.
I don't think so. And again, as the number one, I guess, person to apologize for the man, person to stand up for the dude, as people that listen and have read my content over the, since his arrival last year. I think you're absolutely right. It's the little things that he does in terms of the intensity on the field, the intensity of chasing the ball, of just, I don't want to say running for running's sake, because I think he does a lot of very smart running. I mean, that's obviously the reason why he finishes the game when he finishes, and yes, he gets substituted ultimately, but he's able to run and sprint for as long as he does. He's very smart about when he presses. And sure, he may be slow, but he's very smart about the angles that he's taking for the press. He's very smart about the way he positions his body when the ball's coming to him for the hold-up play. But that may be all good and well, but it is I thought it was kind of funny that the cameraman thought that Damiani scored the goal this weekend. That cracked me up on that header. Because I was sitting at Rafael's baseball practice during the game watching, and I saw the cameraman. Well, I saw Sari Larson go ahead and score the header, and the cameraman just trailing Damiani for a good 30, 35 seconds. I'm thinking, who scored this? Did I not look at this right? I kept on zooming in on my videos. I swear that was Sari Larson. But of course, yeah, it was Sari Larson. I think that there's a point where you got to think, all right, well, Bruno, I think that's great, but where are these numbers? And I think Cornell even mentioned it in one of his most recent press conferences. There's opportunities where he's coming unbelievably close. There's opportunities where he's nearly there, but just not going his way. But there's also got to be a point where you got to make and ask the question of, okay, if things are not going his way and things are not going in, does he just need a break? Does he just need to? Does he just need to sit down for a little bit and let someone else come in? Is it Korzanowski? I'm not sure. Is it Malik? I'm not sure.
Can we talk about him real quick, Jose? Because Malik. Malik. You made a point on social media where you're one of the first people to always talk about this player graduating Union 2. We've seen lots of players over the years where they've essentially graduated in Union 2. That goal that he scores for Union 2 today, the volley, unbelievable goal. I do think that there is a point, Jose, where, yeah, why not try Malik starting every now and then? I'm not saying a week in, week out starter, getting more game playing time, because we know this kid's special, Jose, and you and I both think that long term he'll have a better career than Kevin Sullivan. I mean, you can't you cannot coach natural scoring ability like Malik does. And yeah, he may not be the fastest striker. He's still growing into his body. For sure, a poacher. Once he gets in that 18-yard box, Jose, I mean, he always makes magic happen. And I wouldn't mind seeing Malik playing more of a role off the bench for the Union going forward. Wouldn't mind seeing him start every now and then. Maybe it happens in Leagues Cup. Who knows? But good.
Yeah, that goal today. Are we done with the Bruno thing, by the way? I think you get my point, right?
Yeah, we're done.
Give him a break every now and then. That's fine. I totally can see, him maybe having to take a seat. Malik, that goal he scored today is very much a I don't know, man. Like, not to throw your podcast into a different rating here, but like it was very much a like fuck you type of goal, right? Where like, he goes and does this, and excuse my language, but it's almost like I shouldn't be playing here type of goal where sure. And by the way, let's just back up a little bit. That Kellen LeBlanc ball, what a great ball across the entirety of the field to find him on a dime right at the, yeah, there we go. I didn't even see that comment genuinely. So thank you, Silly Jilly, for that. That Kellen ball was fantastic. So kudos to him, and congrats to Coach LeBlanc. Awesome game for Brooklyn this past weekend too. That goal by Malik was very much, and this is a second goal where it feels like, he shouldn't be playing here, right? The first one being that goal where he uses his brain to realize people have probably watched film on me, just hitting it first time. I'm going to pretend to take a touch, pretend to shoot it, take a touch, and then hit it for his second goal, same spot. And now you see this goal today where it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, to chest it, trap it, flick it over the player, and hit it with the other foot, meaning his left foot, far post, not even like upper bins, I don't think. I think it was very much just kind of, I got the clip here. I think it was very much just like, yeah, it was low level. So like it was placed too. Like he didn't just lash at it. I think with Malik, to wrap it up, I'm going on and on here. So I'm just amazed that like he should not be playing MLS Next Pro. If he keeps playing MLS Next Pro, I think that's all good and well. But I think he'll go the way, unfortunately, and hopefully not. But I think, are you then just developing another Chris Donovan? A guy who goes and plays one game against Atlanta United a couple of years back and scores, a hat trick in 20 minutes, whatever it was. It was some unbelievable, like 3 or 4 goal game for Union 2, and then he never played again for him that year. And what do you do, right? Like, you got to play the guy somewhere, and it can't just be national breaks with the youth level, and it can't be Union 2. So what do you do? So I wholeheartedly agree. Maybe it is him to take a better role and challenge Alladoh, honestly. And I know we're gonna flip roles to him, flip topics to him. But what a goal today by Malik. I didn't think we'd spend time talking about it, but congrats to him. What a great goal.
We had to talk about it, dude. I mean, it's a class goal, class goal. I'd take the risk of playing the video, but yeah, like I said earlier, I might not be the most favorite of MLS, so we're not going to go ahead and play that goal. But let's go ahead and talk about another potential goal scorer, a player that gets his first career MLS assist, and that is Ezekiel Alladoh, Jose. Before we went live, I just finished up writing a piece of Ezekiel Alladoh finally having a breakthrough with this team. Comes off the bench, plays 24 minutes against Montreal. And this is by far his best performance. Yeah, I know he scored goals against Defense Force and CONCACAF Champions Cup, but when the opponent can't score a single goal, they concede 12 goals across 2 games. I really don't think you can really analyze that game all that well when they stood no chance against the Union. But Alladoh was really, really good, Jose. Has the flick one for Jesus Bueno. You see him having that pass for Indiana Vasilov. where it leads to a corner kick. It's good hold-up play in his own half. Alladoh, you see Frankie Westfield on the left side of the field, throws the ball into Alladoh. He flicks it on to Siri, and then the ball winds up going to Damiani. Damiani can't put that ball in the back of the net. Does put it on target just above the goalie. He makes a save. But Alladoh was really good, Jose. And what stood out to me compared to his performance against Charlotte, where him and Damiani only had 3 touches inside the 18-yard box, he comes in, plays 24 minutes, Jose, and has 6 of his 14 touches inside the 18-yard box. That's exactly where you want to see him, being physical. We know he's a physical player. We saw it too, where he holds up the ball, gives it back to Lukic, and then Lukic, I think, takes maybe a little bit of a heavy touch, and it finds its way to Indiana Vasilov, and he hits it over the bar. And yes, Alladoh is going to get all the credit for his assist. It's a good flick one. And we talked about it, Jose. We'll talk about it again right here. What Montreal were doing on that game-winning goal by Jesus Bueno, I still can't wrap my head around it. Why would you take out Morales and bring in Aviles? You throw off your defensive shape. He's literally marking nothing when you go back in and watch that play. The defensive structure is so bad. It is so bad by Montreal on that play. The defensive midfielders, I don't know where they were. I mean, you had one defensive midfielder and a center back on Bruno Damiani, on Bruno Damiani. The ball finds its way on Alladoh. Both players want Alladoh. He wins the flick one. And Aviles is just nowhere to be found on that play. Nowhere to be found. And Jesus Bueno has smart soccer IQ, runs into the box. There's a lot of space to run into the box. But that play starts with Alladoh beating the double team, getting up there to flick it on to Jesus Bueno. And yes, he deserves all the credit in the world for that assist. But what made me happy, Jose, is the press in the 83rd, 84th minute. Him and Indiana Vasilov, they win the ball back. It leads to that header for Alejandro Bedoya. We haven't seen Alladoh press like that, I would say, at all this season. And we know Bradley Cornell loves the press. You've got to press in the system. And he is arguably responsible, Jose. Yeah, he wouldn't have got that assist, but he is responsible for, if the Union would have scored that goal, winning that ball back. Indiana Vasilov picking out Alejandro Bedoya, who, by the way, Jose, 38 years old, I think he is. Yeah, he may not be the same player he once was 10 years ago. He might not have the legs to run as much as he once could, but his soccer IQ, that doesn't go away. I would say he has the highest IQ on this team. He always, I feel like, finds the right space, right time to be in an opportunity to score a goal. And Bedoya cannot believe that Gillier keeps that out with a kick save. Again, another really good save by the goalkeeper, the Chilean. But that moment starts because Alladoh presses and wins the ball back. By far his best performance for the Union off the bench.
I would argue that these 25 minutes were the best minutes that he's played all season. I think that he did a lot to earn himself some more opportunity in terms of earning the trust of the staff. I think whatever the situation was, which I don't want to go too much in depth based on what I heard with him having to need that time off, whether it was genuinely being late to practice, among other things that I had heard. I think it's maybe help put some of that away, right? To tuck it away and say, all right, that was beginning of the season, beginning of my career with the Union, which the Union are not. This wouldn't be the first time that they've had a striker that they spend money on to take time to get adjusted to the complexities of the league, the complexities of the team, squad, etc.
Bruno Damiani,
Ty Baribo, etc. Players that just take time to kind of get going. So great 25 minutes, beautiful flick, fantastic finish by Bueno, I guess, based on I went on the post-game show with Mike, and I'm sorry, I know Barracuda is on the comment section right now, but I couldn't really talk too much because of the connection. I was choppy and it was windy outside for Rafael's practice, but I even mentioned that to Mike. It's like I'm beyond myself to understand why Montreal went and removed Morales for who was it? Aviles.
Yep.
It just did not make any sense. It just didn't make any sense. Just zero sense. I don't understand. It's almost like self-sabotage. And I don't know if this is your blunder of the week. I'm guessing it is, maybe, unless there's something else.
It is.
It is your blunder of the week?
No, it is something else. But I think it's worse.
Okay, great. Then I can mention it. That people often complain about Philadelphia this, Philadelphia that, the union this, union that, selling players, not spending, whatever. Every single fan of the union, every single press member of the union needs the context to realize at least the union, at least the Philadelphia Union are not CF Montreal. And I think that should be a mantra for people to remember, because that's a team that's run circles by themselves. It's a team that just doesn't spend. I think Tom Booger put it really well into perspective by showing that they haven't spent money on a designated player since 2014. I think his little thing was his post. Like, this is a team that is just in it to fleece the fan bases, to just bring. They just don't spend and they don't perform. They don't do anything well. And then you go and have this match. Yes, they go on and lose at home, giving up the lead. And funny enough, Apple had the 70% chance that Montreal was going to go on to win with their little, betting graphics. And the Union, I think, had a 10% chance to turn it around at halftime. And obviously the Union ended up doing it. But like, at the end of the game, then I guess firing the coach and canceling all press conferences after the game. Nobody stood there to talk to the press, whether it was an interim, an assistant coach, anybody. No player was allowed to talk to the press for whatever reason. Like, just, again, if you're upset with the Union at any point during the season or during the seasons, just think, at least the Union are not CF Montreal, a team that's had to rebrand itself many times over to try to sell its own garbage to the fan base over and over and over again, because the brand recognition has a lot of stink. And at this point, I don't know how many more rebrands they can go through.
And not to mention, I mean, how egotistical do you have to be to name the stadium after yourself, Joey Saputo, Stade Saputo? I mean, it's crazy. And then you see the Bologna fans in Italy, who's also owned by Joey Saputo, also doesn't spend a ton of money with the Italian club. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Some guys are just in it, for, hey, I own professional soccer teams. I own a professional football team, a professional, whatever the case may be. And you got to feel pretty bad for that fan base that is dying for any sort of relevancy, which I can't really think of the last time they were relevant other than 2022 when Wilfred Nancy was there and he did miracles for that team and winds up leaving to go to Columbus Crew. And long and behold, look at how successful Columbus was during Wilfred's time. We could tell during his time in Montreal, he was a special coach. There was even a point too, right, Jose, where Thierry Henry was a coach. Anything to try to be relevant. They go out and get Didier Drogba years and years and years ago just to excite this fan base, and it just hasn't worked out for CF Montreal, one of the worst teams in all of MLS. And so, yeah, you're right. When Union fans think that it's bad for the Union, just look up north and see CF Montreal. But I want to play one more clip before we get to Blunder of the Week. This is Bradley Cornell praising the performance from Alladoh.
Excellent. Just shows testament to him. For absorbing information. There's been a lot of information, a lot of expectation, and everyone at the club has invested in him, invested in extra film, extra training on board, and he's invested as well. So, I think we can start to see, slowly turning around in terms of what he can offer us. Just not a hold-up presence, but also, physical, athletic presence, getting him behind and really changing the dynamic of a game. But again, it's only 3 points and it's only a game. Now we have to build a level of consistency and challenge ourselves to start winning the game in the week. And I felt this game was won on Tuesday and Wednesday's training practice, and then we absorb the information of the tactical and the film and everything on Thursday, Friday. But for me, the training week was an excellent one.
And Bradley Cornell does so well there towards the end to remind, I think, fans, the media, that, look, it's only one game. It's 3 points. We get the 3 points, but now you got to build consistency. And for people that want to say that Bradley Cornell doesn't care, for people who want to say that his coaching staff doesn't care, spending extra time with Alladoh on the training field, showing him clips and trying to get him caught up to speed with how this team wants to play, where they want him on the field, is a testament to Cornell's caring about this club, caring about this team. Nobody wanted this team to start 0-6. Jose, the players didn't want it. The front office didn't want it. The coaching staff didn't want it. The fans didn't want it. Nobody wanted it. It happened. And Cornell, to his credit, I said it, Jose, it's one game. You get the 3 points. Now you move on. But he says credit has to be given to how hard they trained on Tuesday and Wednesday. You put in the hard work, you get rewarded. They get the 3 points against CF Montreal. Now you face DC on Saturday, where I would say you need another 3 points to make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season.
Yeah, I really appreciate his comment in terms of, the Wednesday. What was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Is that what he said? Exactly.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. That's so apt, because I think, we hear about it. We're obviously not there every single practice. We just don't have the means to be there. We have full-time jobs, and the way that that press works during the week, it's, I think, 15 minutes, and then you can request the player for whatever 20, 25 minutes, and then that's a wrap on your media availability. And sometimes they don't even have that available because they have other things going on. We're not there to see everything that they do. So to hear Cornell kind of talk about the importance of this time period for them to practice and figure things out is I think welcome by many. Though you could argue you had 2 weeks during the international break to sort stuff out, and you still couldn't sort it out when it came to that game specifically. So I appreciate it, but I also don't want to lose the context of, this was CF Montreal, right? Like, that's great. You got it done against them on the road, and you came from behind and figured it out. That is a fantastic launch pad. Now go do it against DC United. That's great. You did it again. Now go do it. Do I think the Union can go on and do it against Nashville right now? Absolutely not. But I also don't want it to do it against Nashville this early in the season. Go and have a great performance against Nashville when it matters most. Whether it's a tournament game in Leagues Cup, whether it's MLS playoffs, whatever, win then. I gladly take 2 Nashville losses this season over, winning 2 and then losing to them best 2 out of the 3 in the playoffs. So I'm just happy for the team, but also, again, keeping in mind this was just CF Montreal, an aimless team.
Yeah, I agree.
Rudderless.
For sure, and I think Cornell did a good job explaining that multiple times in his press conference that, look, it's 3 points, let's move on and go on to the next. But you really don't know what blunder of the week is, Jose, for me.
I've been so disconnected. Today, I went to this birthday party, and then I just watched the Masters all day with my cousin. So I haven't watched much soccer. I watched the 8:30 slate yesterday and didn't have an article to write, though magically an article showed up in the morning from MLS from somebody else, which was kind of interesting, cracked me up a little bit. So no, I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing, is it Spurs losing and maybe earning themselves relegation this season?
No. Shout out Rory McIlroy, by the way. Back-to-back Masters wins for him. Great performance by him. But no, it is a MLS team, or I should say 2 MLS teams, Jose. Nobody in the comments ruined this for Jose, since he genuinely doesn't know.
Now I'm looking. I got to look at the results from yesterday. Is it red cards?
It is.
Is it San Diego earning another red card?
It is.
No, listen, I know we're about to take a swing at San Diego. I will say that Bambino kid, is it Bambino or Bombino? Yeah, Bombino. That kid is a baller. Luca Bombino, if you wanna see a skill-wise and grit-wise copy-paste of Frankie Westfield playing in the West Coast, this is a guy that it's literally a copy-paste in terms of what he brings you on the field. I would love to see Luca Bombino as a left back and then let Frankie play a right back. That would be an amazing partnership. But let's talk about these red cards because it's an unbelievable. Oh yeah, Cincinnati too. Holy smokes! That's right. I did watch that Toronto game. Well, most of it, anyways. Waiting for the Union.
Yeah. So blunder of the week. It's going to two MLS teams. It's going to go to FC Cincinnati, who was going to get it at first, and then San Diego winds up picking up another game of a red card. And so San Diego and FC Cincinnati have both received a red card per game for the last month.
Yeah, not good.
No, not good at all. And to take it a step further, Jose, when you look at the player that's getting the red cards for San Diego, it's Christopher McVeigh. He's got a red card in his last 3 competitions for San Diego. 2 red cards in MLS, 1 in CONCACAF Champions Cup. I mean, that's unbelievable, Jose. You get suspended in MLS. You can play the game against CONCACAF in CONCACAF Champions Cup. You get suspended in that game. You serve your suspension in MLS. You come back, and you get a suspension. It is unbelievable. 4 straight games of red cards for FC Cincinnati. In those games, they're 1-2-1. You've talked about it, Jose, where you believe Pat Noonan is on the hot seat. And I think there's a real possibility that Pat Noonan's time in Cincinnati could be coming to an end. Give up the late equalizing goal to Toronto one Saturday. And then San Diego, 5 red cards in the last 6 games. Unbelievable. 5 games with red cards in the last 6. Just unbelievable. We talked about the Union being undisciplined against DC United in New York City, getting red cards with Alladoh and Macania. But can you imagine this fan base, Jose? If it would have been 4 straight games, if it would have been 5 red cards in the last 6, this fan base would have lost it.
5 red cards and 6 losses on the bounce. That's a recipe for a lot of different questions, right? I mean, I still the Alladoh red card, and then all the questions we asked when we started seeing some of this stuff. And you know, I must admit, and to be totally fair, I think refereeing has changed specifically this year. I think players have said as much in terms of at least vocalizing your displeasure with calls. But some of the red cards that I've seen throughout this season are just can't be even allocated or squared away by saying, oh yeah, he argued with the referee. No, like some of these red cards are just like some piss poor challenges that these teams are making. And to your point to Cincinnati, the only thing that's keeping Cincinnati and the Union separated is a win and a draw. So like, it's not like it's a wildly different record and Pat Noonan's running away with the league despite, you know, these red cards. I think this is a Pat Noonan team that, with the way that they spend and the way that, you know, expectations are over there with the roster that he's built and the players that they, again, bought in recent memory and let go in recent memory at the same time. I don't know, man. That's a team that should be on a win now type of thing every single game, where, you know, people want to have the excuse or bring up, you know, the Union sold away so many players. Like, well, Cincinnati hasn't really done a whole lot of that. If anything, they brought in more and more talented pieces for a heck of a lot more expensive than the Union. So maybe questions have to be asked about them too.
Yeah, and our friend Mark Kelkenberg brought up a good point to us right before we went live, saying that there's 8 teams in MLS that only have 1 win. It's unbelievable. Only. I mean, I didn't realize it was that bad, right? I mean, of course, we focus on the Union. Of course, we focus on the Eastern Conference more than the West. But realizing that there's 8 teams, Jose, that only have 1 win. What a crazy year. Start to the season for MLS. I mean, this thing's not all determined yet. I didn't realize it was that low. Yeah, Nashville looked like they could be running away with it. Only one loss on the season. I mean, look, you have LAFC lose last night to San Jose Earthquake, who have been fantastic this season under Bruce Arena. 6 wins, only 1 loss. Vancouver Whitecaps, again, strong start to the season. 6 wins, 1 loss. Yeah, it's it was a surprise for me once I found out that from Mark. Only that the Union aren't the only team that are struggling. There's 7 other teams with only 1 win. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But anything, Jose, you want to plug? And I know there's something actually you're working on Tuesday, and I'm sure we probably don't want to give that away too much. It's a big project for us, but I think it's one that this fan base will enjoy. I think this is definitely going to be our most challenging project, but I think it's going to be worthwhile, and I hope the fans enjoy how much time and effort that you put in with this project, and then me trying to help with the back end work. But that's all I'll say. If you want to tease it anymore, you can. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this project, Jose, that we have coming up.
No, nothing. I would also want to say thank you to Mike Barrera as well, who shared some questions, some ideas for the project that we're working on. So more to come. I may actually have to move to Wednesday. I didn't realize I have a soccer game on Tuesday night. So, and I selfishly want to go play my once a week soccer league. So I may contact, may try to figure something out on when to accomplish this project, since I'll be busy Tuesday night. But more to come. I have MLS duty this weekend. I can't recall which games, to be honest with you. But just sort of gearing up for a busy time. If you work in the collegiate world, this is when you start gearing up for reunion weekends and alumni weekends and visitors coming to campus, and the tune of, I think our alumni weekend, we're a college of 1,600 students, plus the faculty and staff. And then for certainly graduation coming up, but alumni weekend, I think we welcome about 900 strangers for like a 3-day weekend, which is kind of like a crazy number to think about. So it's getting to be busy time here, especially with the fiscal year closing. So I'll try to keep my head down and work as hard as I can, and certainly try to pop in as much as I can with you, Todd. If not, maybe a rotating chair here and there to kind of alleviate some of those Sunday pressures in the evening.
Going back to solo, baby. Going back to solo. Back to the roots. Fern had a question here for you. He says, what position do you play?
I still try to play center midfielder, but I must admit there's moments where right by the Achilles area it starts to get a little tight, feeling a little bit like a guitar string, and that's where I slow down a little bit and ask for a substitute, where maybe 4 or 5 years ago I'd still be sprinting all 80 minutes of my games or so.
I just hope you're good to go, Jose, once we play in the Icarus Cup. So
I've been getting better. I already shed 3 or 4 pounds, which is good. Just running around, eating a little bit better. I must admit, drinking a little less alcohol. So from July, I should be better to run around, though. 3 games in 1 day, no matter how long they are.
It's gonna be more.
Short.
Don't sell us short. We're gonna go on a run. We're going to go on a run.
I hope we go on a run.
I'm expecting a lot from you. I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, man. I do not want to let the team down fitness-wise, trying to get back in shape. I don't know if I'll ever get back to as good a shape as I was in high school, but I don't want to let the team down in the fitness area. I can promise you I'm not going to score a goal. Maybe I'll assist it too. We need a good finisher.
I see this funny question from Fern. I regret not ever either being invited or being available the one time I was invited late to the media game, because I really wanted to show all of you guys that like I can ball. Like, I'm not bad. Like, I just want to show you guys I can ball. But media game, a thing of the past, I think, with the Union.
Ask Ryan Richter. He can attest to the passing ability that I possess. We did a passing game. I didn't miss a single pass into the net. Our team blew away everybody else that we competed against. So, yeah, I hope I can play some good passes. Hopefully we have some players that can finish off these chances, Jose. But, again, I'm looking forward to Icarus Cup. And I haven't been on a team that's won a game in a very long time. And, yes, I've suffered with concussion. So, I haven't been able to play soccer as much as I've wanted to. So if we can get at least one win, Jose, I'll be happy. But yeah, sharing a field with you, your teammates, my friend Mike, who's coming up with me from Maryland, who I never got a chance to play against in high school because he played in a division higher than me. It should be a good time at Drexel and wherever else they may be sending us to play. But if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow Free Kick Pod, where we get your podcast, The Free Kick. Check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/freekickpod. And then you can also always check out the podcast live. And Fern actually brought up a good point. He says, first time listening live, I usually listen on Spotify. This is fun. We appreciate that. We definitely want more people interacting and people who listen back on the RSS feed. Jose and I always try to go live the day after the game, usually 9 p.m. So if you guys want to interact live with us, just keep in mind 9 p.m. is when we usually go live the very next day. We do want to try to get more guests on midweek, just like we did last week with Jess Sherman. I know you guys were very, very happy with that episode. You guys sent her a lot of love and sent us a lot of love too for setting up that interview. So we thank you guys. But if you guys want to check out my writing, the podcast or goals breakdown video, all in one place, thefreekick.substack.com. And the last thing that I'll say before we end this show, Jose, is there's been a lot happening for us on the podcast. Really, really happy with how the last, I would say, month has went for us. A lot of great feedback, a lot of great listens, a lot of great connections that we made. And I'm super, super, super happy, Jose, with where things are going. And again, I mean, it goes to the hard work that you do to get us to where we are. Yeah, I hate giving myself credit, but yeah, sure. The hard work that I put in, getting the show running the way that it does. And then most importantly, the people that subscribe, like the podcast, share the podcast, follow us on social media. You guys are the reason we get to do what we get to do. And so we appreciate you guys always. Enjoy this warm week that's coming up in the Mid-Atlantic. See, 90 degrees temperature. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And we're only in April. But until then, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.